Good morning, students. I hope you've had a chance to get outside today. It's just beautiful out. Let's take a look at our morning message. May 1st, 2020. Dear students, happy May! You see my exclamation mark? I wanted to be sure to give it some oomph. Happy May! What holidays will we celebrate this month? What are some symbols for May, Mrs. Kilmer? Okay, let's reread once. What holidays will we celebrate this month? So we're curious about the holidays and what are some symbols for May. So we're looking for holidays and symbols. So you could be thinking for yourself, what are some holidays and symbols that you already know for May? And in a minute, I'm just going to switch out and have the calendar so we can take a look. Welcome back. Let's take a look at the calendar. So the first question was, what holidays will we celebrate this month? So if I look along for the markers, I see that last Friday was May Day. May Day. May Day is a traditional celebration kind of spring. And if you can see, there are young people, in this case I think girls, dancing around a May pole, which is like a kind of a wood tree trunk or some kind of timber or pole that's been put in the ground with ribbons hanging down from it, and the girls traditionally in a spring celebration would be doing dances around the pole that would weave the ribbons together. Tomorrow we have a celebration, a holiday that's especially important in Key School because of our immersion, our Spanish immersion school. It's Cinco de Mayo, right? That's a holiday for people of Mexican descent, but we all often celebrate Cinco de Mayo. We'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow. Mother's Day is this month, and Memorial Day is near the end of the month, and we'll be talking more about those holidays as we get closer. Let's think about the symbols for May. So I notice on the label for the calendar for May, I see some symbols for May, and I'm making so many connections to our learning in April. Do you remember the poem we learned? April showers bring May flowers? Right, so sure enough, flowers are a real common symbol for May. I see tulips and other kinds of flowers, and I also see pollinators, right? I see butterflies and bees and some other kinds of beetles and a snail. So I would say that one of the main symbols for May are flowers and butterflies and ladybugs and bees, all kinds of pollinators. It's so great to keep making those connections. So in a minute, I'll be sharing with you our reading for today. Hi students. So last week for your information or nonfiction book, you read a book called Legs, Wings, Fins, and Flippers. And it was all about body parts, different body parts that different animals have that help them to move, right? And so the thing that was the same was that they're all body parts about moving, but they were all different for different animals. So this week I thought it would be nice to extend that learning with considering another part of the body that all animals have. And I'm not going to say what it is. I'm going to read the title and see if you figure it out. So the title of the book we're going to read is Fur, Feathers, Scales, Skin. Sorry for the glare there. Fur, feathers, scales, skin. You think for a minute? What part of the body is the same about all those? Well, what part of the body is fur, feathers, scales, and skin? Do we find those things? On the front, I see a cute little koala bear. And on the back, I see a chameleon. Oh, that's making me think of a student who wrote in that when I was talking about commas, it made her think of that funny old song, Karma, 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 chameleon. Well, there's our chameleon. Okay, let's enjoy this book, Fur, Feathers, Scales, and Skin by Christine Economos. Oh, I have to put my glasses on. What was I thinking? That's better. Okay. Fur, feathers, scales, and skin. Table of contents. Fur, Feathers, Scales, and Skin. And I see a big furry lion. Again, by Christine Economos. Okay, fur. Oh, I see a picture of a big polar bear. Many animals have fur. This polar bear has thick fur. The fur keeps the bear warm. The polar bear is a good swimmer. When it gets back on land, water drips from its fur. It shakes itself to dry its fur. Oh, okay, I see a new heading, feathers, and I see a bird. Many animals have feathers. This parrot has different kinds of feathers. One kind is short and soft. Another kind is long and smooth. The long feathers help the parrot fly. Oh, I have to stop and think about that for a minute. I never thought about birds having different kinds of feathers, really. I just thought about them having feathers. So this is interesting. One kind is short and soft. Okay, it doesn't tell us exactly what those kind are for, but the other kind is long and smooth, and the long ones help them fly. Well, I guess that makes sense, right? Because I see those long feathers on the wings. But I'm still wondering what the short and soft ones are for. Pheasants have feathers. This pheasant lives on the ground. The pheasant's feathers are the same color as the grass. This helps the pheasant hide. Oh, indeed. Wow. That pheasant, I'll show you that close up first, and then you can see. Look, you can hardly see this part of the pheasant. Scales. Many animals have scales. This lizard has scales. The lizard's scales are brown and rough. The scales help it to keep cool in the hot desert sun. Oh my goodness, that lizard is so interesting. Look at its face. It really does look like a little dragon. Oh wow, I think you could use your imagination and write a pretty cool story about that lizard dragon. His face is quite neat. This snake has smooth green scales. The scales help the snake climb. Here's a close-up of its face. And there it is climbing in the tree. Skin. Oh, I see a big elephant. Many animals have skin. Elephants have thick skin. Elephants eat leaves from trees. The thick skin keeps them from getting cut and scratched. Okay. Think of the animals you know. Which have fur or feathers, which have scales or skin. And there I see two little children holding a rabbit and being very kind and petting the rabbit. So, I want you at home to think about fur, feathers, scales, and skin. What body part are those all about? What's the same about fur, feathers, scales, and skin? And I hope that you will email me your answer, and we'll talk about it more in the coming days and learn more about fur, feathers, scales, and skin. Oh, by the way, I was so surprised that this book did not use a special word that I know you all know. I thought that picture, I got to go back and do something, right? So the picture of the pheasant in the grass was so interesting because it was really able to hide. And I'm sure most of you can remember the special science word for when animals' skin coloring or covering helps them to hide. And it's, do you remember what it is? Camouflage, right? Camuflaje. You learned in science in Spanish. So I thought that was a neat kind of fact to go back and remember and a science word to remember. And also, I want to go back and look at that little lizard. His face was just so cute and fun and interesting. He really did look. I'm going to give you a real nice close-up. Look at him. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about fur, feathers, scales, and skin. I look forward to hearing from you about what is the same about fur, feathers, scale, and skin. And I'll see you this afternoon for our other story.